Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this a couple years with my fiancée Anetta. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to paint a miniature, but I'm mostly going to talk about how eBay changed our lives. Right, so this just is a character from a board game called Aftermath. I'm going to start off with like painting its fur basically. But yeah, we have to start at the beginning for me, so when I was pretty young, when eBay was just around, uh, my mom was selling a bunch of Beanie Babies. She would also go to those like little, the rooms in the hotels, like the convention halls, to buy and flip them, and she would be flipping them on eBay. Obviously, I was not old enough to have an account, so eventually, when I wanted to sell some stuff on eBay, I had to use her account, right? Um, I remember the first thing I did was not sell stuff, right? So there was a bunch of bidding back on eBay back then, and I bidded on a WrestleMania Super Nintendo game. It was intense. I remember it was like a lot of chore money piled up. Watching other people outbid me, and then eventually I won the bid. I think I barely got like a good price compared to what you could get it for at eBay Games back in the day. I think it was eBay Games. So yeah, it was just a fascinating place to bid on stuff. People really enjoyed it, and they still do now. It's more of a buy it now format, but yeah, it was a legit place where people would bid. Another thing I remember I got, this was more of a kind of like a mistake I learned early on. But yeah, I thought I was purchasing a booster box of some Dragon Ball Z cards, and it ended up being a basically a brick of starter decks, so they were all the same thing. They weren't really randomized. Like all the starters were the same. I remember I was pretty sad, and I reached out to the buyer. I was like, "Oh, was I supposed to get a box? And did you send the right thing?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, thank you for your purchase." And I was like, "Oh." So that was just like one example of a good experience with the fun bidding war, and then one bad experience that was my fault. I honestly don't fully remember my age. It's probably between 8 to 12 when this happened. I also remember my mom was flipping Pokemon cards like Charizards, and then the Japanese packs. She would go to like a cigar shop, get some. The Japanese packs I think were like $8, $9, $10. And then there were sets that weren't even like released here yet. I think it's been a long time, but yeah, she was flipping those, and I was just observing. I would eventually sell a couple of my Pokemon cards, which kind of led me to sell my Pokemon cards in a roundabout way. So I lived on the corner of a park, which was relevant because there'd be so many kids that would go through that park, and a lot of people obviously like Pokemon. So we were all trading cards, and then I eventually got this idea where I noticed a lot of kids had quarters and coins, and I was always like getting their quarters and coins from them for like selling Pokemon cards, and I realized that was adding up, and that was how I was able to actually save up for booster packs because obviously I'm young, no job, did some chores, had an allowance, but I was addicted. I wanted more. I didn't want to get like one pack a week, and then you open up and you get like a Chansey or something. Well, I think Chansey's cool now, but it wasn't the Venusaur, the Blastoise, the Charizard, the main starters back in the day. So yeah, I realized a lot of kids had quarters and nickels, and then I was also always fascinated with bubblegum machines, and I was always paying quarters in those machines, getting those stickers, those tattoos, all those little tchotchke toys, everything. We used to collect those smiley face stickers all over the place. They even had like fake Yu-Gi-Oh card stickers. Yeah, yeah. So I projected what I liked because I was like, oh well, I like this, so other people like this. So I got a bubblegum machine. I think probably for like a birthday or a Christmas gift, and then it was a relatively sizable bubblegum machine. Like it was one of my big presents that year, from my parents. Then I was at Toys R Us, and on the back of the package, I saw a pack of bubblegum. I'm like, oh well, I need bubblegum for my bubblegum machine. And then I did the math. I was like, oh, Each little like bubble gum at the time was like 2 to 10 cents or something. I was like, actually, it was probably lower, probably way less than 10 cents. You buy like a big bag, it was probably like $6 or something at Toys R Us. And then I was like, oh well, if I do a bubble gum for a quarter, that's a lot of money. I did the math. I was like, I can get like $60, right? And then so I did it, right? I filled it up. Everything was clean. I went around in the park with this bubblegum machine. Everyone was obsessed. They all had their quarters. They're all buying it. This is going on for a bit, right? And I'm ecstatic. I'm feeling like I'm running a little business. Remember, at the time, I was pretty young, right? So I was impressed at myself. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Working's great. You just do things that other people want, and then you get things, right? So eventually, the quarters aren't coming in as often, right? Because people already went through their couches. They're getting bored of the bubble gum. So I was like, ooh, I have to step it up. So I had this ingenious idea that I had a ton of Pokemon cards right at this point, and kids also like Pokemon cards. So I was like, I'm going to take like 10 of these bubble gums, like the circular ones, Sharpie on it, warn people obviously that there's Sharpie on it, and if one drops out, they get like a holo, like a Gyarados or something like that. So that's what I did, and then the sales came trickling, or not trickling in, a lot of sales came in. People were getting the Sharpied ones. I mean, I couldn't really pick and choose where they went in there. It's like a bubblegum machine. People would be like, oh, can you shake it? Sure, I'll shake it as long as I don't break the machine. So yeah, and then I'm, I guess, like, in quotations, losing out on Pokemon cards, but I was getting way more. I was getting like $60 per bag of bubblegum, and I was spending $6, and then losing some cards. Like, I had so many doubles of Gyarados and other stuff that I just didn't really care about. It really wasn't a big deal. Obviously, that goes into the cost of it, but I was able to keep doing this for a while. So yeah, that was like my first love for business. I still have fond memories thinking about it. I know it's kind of silly, but like thinking about it now, it's kind of led me on a trajectory in my life. I'm in my 30s, and I still enjoy the feeling of selling stuff to people. It's just really weird to like sit back and think about what was the thing that did it. And I guess my addiction to Pokemon cards was the thing that got me to figure out a way to get money, right? So yeah, that was my first foray into eBay, basically observing my mom. All right, and then, I'm going to go into like my mid days of eBay. eBay was always a part of my life. I was eventually able to get my own I was going to say channel, get my own eBay account, right? I've gone through many at this point. I think one of the first ones was like Ross Elf, because I have an ear that's shaped like an elf ear. So that was just like, I'm an edgy kid. Ross Elf was my account, probably with some numbers. Or not kid, like a teenager or whatever. Whenever you were allowed to have an account. And I would start selling stuff off. I was like really big into Magic the Gathering. So I remember I had cracked open Baneslayer Angel. Baneslayer Angel was a relatively expensive card back then. Oh yeah, cards are super expensive now, so it's a joke looking back at it. And I think I put an auction, and I was already counting my money. I was counting my eggs before they hatched, and I did not get enough for it. But I got like, I think it was in the 20s, but it was like a $40 card, so I got like 27 for it. But yeah, I was still happy, like eBay. I was able to turn my eBay money into other stuff I wanted, so I think I got more Magic cards. What else did I sell? Anything, like any video games. Yeah, anything that I was basically turning my nerd money, is like what I considered it, into more nerd stuff without hitting like my actual bank account, right? Obviously, I'm like slowly losing money while doing that, because you don't, like, unless if you get a good nerd collectible and it goes up from what you spent on it. I wasn't focused on it at that time. Yeah, I just really was busy with school. I played a bunch of World of Warcraft as well. I was pretty obsessed with that, but that's not the point of this video. I was just busy with other stuff than like flipping nerd stuff. It was just like saving a little bit of money here and there and being able to get things I want. I remember I would also do consignment for friends of mine. One second, it's hard to see his nose. I want to get his nose. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. I've never told him this story, and I never will. I don't think he watches the channel. I don't think he ever will, which is, it doesn't matter. He was having car issues. Like his car broke down or something. He needed money quick, and he had a lot of nerd stuff. He had a full, I think it was like a War Machine and Hordes army, and I did like an auction for it, right? And I also auctioned off a bunch of other stuff for him that time. He just gave me a bunch of stuff. I was going to take, I think I was going to, the agreement at the time, it's been so long, half of after fees, shipping, all that stuff, just half of the full on profits, which is probably a good deal for him now. Thinking about it now, I would not do that. That's way too much work and effort. I put everything of his on auction, and it went pretty well. I got like $800 or something, so we split it. He got way more money towards his car for stuff he wasn't using anymore. And like about a month or so later, I'm not sure how long, and I don't know what the rules during eBay were at that time, because I know someone can only return things 30 days now. I get a message, and the person goes, "Hey, I didn't receive the army." And I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. But you know what? I kept the receipts for all of the orders. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go check the tracking. I go to my car where I had them all. The only receipt I can't find was for that order. Kid you not. And I'm like livid. eBay ends up siding with them because I don't have proof. Not eBay's fault, my fault. I'm not sure how that was the only one that didn't go. I got a pretty bitter taste. I'm assuming that the package did eventually arrive. And then I already gave the money to my buddy, and my buddy was already struggling because he needed the money for a car payment. So I just essentially ate the money. Like, it sucked. I worked hard at my job at the restaurant during that time to just get it back. But yeah, this is just an example of sometimes, bad things can happen on eBay. And you know what, this one was my fault, and I wasn't going to go back and ask for the money. I really needed the money too. That was pretty much a burn. That was basically all my work into it, down the drain. It was a lot of work too. So yeah, that was one example of this is like, remember, I'm like in the middle tier of my eBay life / career at this point. Just because I've been rambling, I want to make sure to keep everyone up to date, right? So then there's this other scam, international order. I did an international order. I was into HeroClix. I was just selling off some bigger figures. I had a bad sale with an actual HeroClix website where they did sales. So I was like, you know what? Instead of using this like niche website, I'm going to go back to eBay, go to my accounts. I sell a bunch of the stuff. Most of it's pretty good. Then there's one international where the person goes, "Hey, the figure's broken." And I'm like, no, it's not. It was this big, it was like a colossal figure. I can't remember the full thing, like the Blue Beetle's little beetle thing. It was huge. It was a pretty big figure. I'm like, it's not broken. I did a really good job packaging it. Yeah, so he sends me a picture of it, and it's not broken. So I'm like, okay, it's not broken. So we're contesting it, right? And in the contesting at the time, I'm not sure what the rules were. They were probably more aware of the rules. In the contesting rules for eBay, I send, and this is ended up being my mistake, right? So I send a picture of my original picture, right? Showing like, hey, it's not damaged. I was like, okay, here's proof it's not damaged. Like, they're showing a picture, it's also not damaged. Like, cool, I win. Like, justice will be served. I immediately get like shortly after that, I get a little thing from eBay, case closed in the buyer's favor. And the reason the employee did it at the time was because I got the item back. And I'm like, I didn't get the item back. What are you talking about? And I'm like confused. I'm trying to, it got rid of my listing. I couldn't find it anymore. This was probably sometime in like mid 2010-ish. So I'm not sure what the rules were. But me sending the picture of my original picture, the system or the person on the other end thought I got the item back. And if you get the item back, it's the refund happens, right? That, like, now I know that now. And I was so pissed. Like, I felt like this person baited me into doing that. It was super frustrating. I called. They kept saying like, "Oh, nope, it's already closed. There's nothing to do about it. Sorry." I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm still gonna use eBay for other stuff. These are just two fun stories. These ones stick out in my head. These are like the worst of the worst things that ever happened to me on eBay. Which, looking at it, is really not that big of a deal, right? Obviously, the $400 burned at the time was my fault because I didn't keep the tracking, and then the other, it was probably like a $40 order for that HeroClick figure. That was a bad burn, but I had sold a lot of my HeroClix, so I was up hundreds of dollars at that point. So yeah, I was just also doing this occasionally to save money, or sorry, save space. I lived in a basement room, or not. I mean, I changed rooms. We had a lot of rooms at my parents' place. At one point, I was in the basement room. Um, so yeah, I did this to save space. It didn't matter that it was a basement room. It just like I was in one small bedroom, no matter which room I was in. Um, so yeah, this is like my middle eBay career, and then eventually I didn't use it for a while. I would use it sporadically to sell stuff. I didn't buy too much on it. I don't have any like big memories other than the Super Nintendo game and the Dragon Ball Z um, starter decks of actually like using it. Let me think for a second. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take a little, not a break, but I need to figure out what color I'm doing next. That was faster than I expected. Uh, this is a pretty cool board game. I haven't played it yet, but my fiance wants to play it. I mean, I want to play it too. It's a cool story adventure game. You're controlling 4 different rats. This is one of the characters. I wanted the jacket to be this color. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Hopefully I have enough of this color. I do. To water it down. Sorry, I know you're not really seeing this. It's just easier just to have it on the figure for now. Trying to make the paint like a melty little ice cream texture. You need to, it's like acrylic paint, so the paint goes on when it dries up, and then it leaves the pigment on the figure. This figure's primed with primer, so it sticks on better. Alright. Yeah, so now at this point, I get to my like 20s-ish, and I'm not using it too much, and then I used it briefly, very briefly, in my mid-20s. I used eBay for the business I was working for at the time to clearance off some stuff. It worked pretty well, but it was kind of a pain because, we didn't have boxes and stuff, so it was just a reason to once again get space. And yeah, a little bit of money for the business at the time I was working for. But yeah, that's about it. I always, like I said, I had multiple accounts. And then there was I'm going to transition a little bit in the story, right? So now I get to my late 20s, actually early 30s, and 2020 happens, so we all know about that. I had never, kid you not, watched YouTube at all. Oh, that would be like someone would show me a video and they would like Rick roll me or something. I'm like, what is this? They would show me like weird prank videos, and I just kind of was like, I don't have time for this. This isn't my kind of humor. Obviously, once in a while, I'd be like, oh, he, you got me. But yeah, it just wasn't my platform to observe information. But during 2020, I had a lot of time, and I think Aneta was showing me a channel. It was Matt's from Part-Time Pickers, and I was fascinated by it. I was like, oh wow, this is a legit thing that people are doing. Like they're doing eBay full time. I'm like, I guess like if you, yeah, I mean when people are wanting to sell a bunch of stuff, they want to sell it cheap. I've sold my nerd stuff for cheap, and yeah, I guess if you want to focus on that, flip it. I never really had thought of it like that way. I just literally didn't think of it, right? So I'm consuming that content. And eventually, I watch some other people. I watch, so Matt from Part-Time Pickers, he just gets crazy flips. He goes to yard sales. His thing is be the first one there. And then because he's the first one there, he has like a crazy knowledge base of just like a bunch of different stuff that sells. I've seen him sell like clothes, golf clubs, video games, I don't know, he just has a natural talent for finding that stuff. And then I watched Rally Roots. Rally Roots does like a bunch of vintage T-shirts. I mean, he does other stuff too, so it's cool seeing the vintage T-shirts. And then I watched Thrift School. Thrift School was one of my favorites. He was more of a regular guy, just doing kind of it more down to earth, not on like a super huge scale. Or I think he sold stuff on Amazon as well, but he was just like scanning DVDs, selling DVDs, CDs, toys, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I was watching a bunch. And then the last person, it took me a little bit to warm up to, was Auction Professor. He does like vintage items, and he's like an older gentleman, so he really knows a lot of stuff. He does like buttons, he does collectibles, he does ephemera, which is like paper, advertisements. He really knows his stuff. So yeah, I was watching all of these people just like consuming it a lot. And then also at the time, my older brother, I'm getting a different color real quick, guys, for the miniature. Give me a second. My older brother was also doing it on eBay, and he was also doing videos. And that also inspired me. I'm like, okay, a bunch of people are doing this. I remember he said to me one time, he's like, Ross, you should do this. I really think you could do this well. I'm like, okay. And that little nugget stayed in my head. And then Anetta was always talking about like she used to thrift a lot and she loved it, and she has a good eye for just thrifting in general. She was always a thrifty shopper for stuff she needs, stuff she's collecting. So I'm like, okay, you know, you can see how the puzzle, like the wheels in my head were turning, right? But I had another job at the time, so it wasn't anything that came to fruition. And I just remember one day, crystal clear memory of mine. We were living in a basement, like a basement roomish area, right? And she was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, I think for the second time, trying to beat the game, and I was playing Path of Exile. Oh God, it was not Bestiary. Oh man, I can't think of it. Maybe it was no, not Bestiary. Wow, it's been a while. The one where they allowed you to get crazy crafts with the garden. I'm having such a brain fart right here. Whatever. I'll move on. This is embarrassing because I played so much of it. I was sitting there. Maybe it wasn't that league. Honestly, you know what? I'm just gonna say I don't remember what league, because I think I played a couple leagues while living there, because they're every 3 or 4 months. So I don't remember what league. All right, moving on. But we were both playing video games. It was kind of like, it's whatever. But I was just tired of being in the tight space on nowhere. I'm like, do you want to do eBay with me? Like seriously, like we're gonna thrift. You have a good eye for stuff, and she was down. She was like, oh yeah, cool, down. And that's kind of what started our part-time journey. We were doing it part-time for a while. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went thrifting. Oh, sorry. Before getting into it, we had a goal. Sorry, we had a goal to save up money to get a more money for a down payment, because she lost her job during 2020, or only got like part-time work from it, and then mine wasn't paying enough at the time. Like it was going to take a long time to save up money for a down payment for like a place to live. So yeah, I was like, the goal is we will do this, we'll do it hard, and then we will get enough money, extra money for a down payment. And she's like, yep. So we go thrifting a lot. There's a lot of cool thrift stores. They ended up not being good over time because like prices increased. But yeah, we found some good thrift stores. A lot of Goodwill in the beginning. We had some good luck with Goodwill. I don't like Goodwill in general. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of boring. There's a lot of junk to go through to find the stuff, but you could find stuff. I'm thinking about next color for the cape. What was I gonna do? Okay, wait. Yeah. I think that's what I was going to do. Let me see, I have to mix something here, but I guess I can talk while mixing. Yeah, a lot of Goodwill. Savers. I liked Savers. They did, I think they still do it, a day on Monday where everything's half off. So Savers was cool. And then you can find Ma and Pa thrift stores, and then they have like flea market malls where people pay for a booth and then you can just go in. Those are overwhelming for me, but Ned is really good at those. But yeah, they mentally exhaust me. So we were doing that. We were building up inventory. Stuff was a lot cheaper at the time. Is this a good color? I don't know. I'm red-green colorblind, so maybe not. Yeah, we'll see. Um, yeah, and then we also did a bunch of estate sales, and yeah, we did a lot of estate sales, and we were having luck. And then we also found some people that would do like personal sales, like yard sales, or there was someone that bought storage lockers, and we would buy stuff from them as well. Yeah, it was we were really going at it. We still go at it, but now that yeah, we have a lot of inventory, so we don't have to source as much because we went really ham at the time. I'm not like a super fan of this color, but it'll work. I think the wash will make this look better. Yeah, so we're going ham. It's a whole thing. If you go really hard at the resale, and you like the sales come in, right? But now we need to get supplies, right? So shipping supplies. So my brother at the time, or we were getting supplies from the post office. And funny story, I remember the post office has a lot of free boxes, right? But you have to use their priority mail shipping. There was also first class at the time, media mail, a lot of other stuff, right? It gets kind of a little complicated, not really, but there are technically a lot of options. So we were doing DVDs. I was grabbing DVDs because I saw Thrift School doing DVDs, and then my older brother was having good luck with DVDs. And I was grabbing like other stuff. She was way more eclectic and still is about the stuff that she grabs. She has a better like overall eye for what people are looking for. Anything from like tchotchkes to she's had success with like lamp bases, just blankets. What else? She's even good with like board games and I don't know tchotchkes, art. She's done well with arts, books. Yeah, she has a good eye for everything in general. She's pretty much the whole champ of the operation. I would even say with my nerdy knowledge base, I would say she gets relatively close for how long I've been into more of the tabletop nerd stuff than her, and how she still can source pretty well. Like I wouldn't even be nervous if she was my voice cracked. I wouldn't even be nervous if she sourced without me, especially for nerdy stuff. She would do probably a better job than me. But yeah, we had to get supplies. So yeah, I was accidentally shipping DVDs, and the post office has a DVD priority mail box. And then my older brother's like, "Ooh, that's you're not supposed to be shipping media mail." And then I'm like, "Oh, I've been doing it for a month." But yeah, then we eventually had to switch. He was getting boxes from a person he knew, like a mini wholesale situation. So we were getting from that person as well. We eventually had to stop because we were just able to find the similar cheap prices online. And at the time, they lived close to one of our parents, so it was easy to like buy a bunch in bulk, go to the parents, pick it up, and then drop off the boxes. And then we needed less boxes than we do now. We have the whole closet full right now of shipping supplies. But back then we were trying to scale up, right? You're doing the whole operation. It was we were still doing it part-time, right? But we were trying it hard part-time, right? We had to get a photo box. You have to get baggies. Oh no, now you need a scale. Now you probably want two scales. Oh, you need measuring tapes for when you need to measure items, like let's say like a poster or something. So you're getting that. You need Sharpies. You need tape to tape up the boxes, right? You need that. You need everything. There's a lot more supplies that you need. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, baggies. I like to baggie this stuff. So yeah, we're going pretty hard at the part time, right? We're none of these people that I was watching at the time. Still aren't, but we are definitely have progressed a lot since then, right? But then, we're getting to a point where it's the part time is starting to like I'm looking at like my full time check, and then I'm looking at the part time money that we're like splitting in at a nine. I'm like, huh, like this is scary. But I was starting to think of full time, but it was kind of like just like a nah, we can't do that, and like nah, it's too stressful. We can't. It's still technically stressful, but in a different way. At this point, there's different problems than there were now, back then. But yeah, I'm like nah. And then eventually, I transitioned out of my other job, and I didn't have another full time job lined up yet, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, and then I had enough saved up to have like a couple months of bills and stuff, but like money goes pretty quickly if you're not having like a full time gig coming in. It evaporates. I was aware of this, but I know some people aren't, and they get surprised when money just disappears. Everything, every food, everything you're buying, money, money, money. Every bill, money, 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 right? So I'm just like trying to figure out. I had some interviews, some prospect jobs. I reached out to a lot. Some people told me like, oh, in October, and it's like, oh, well, that's not now. And I was reaching out to a bunch of people, and I'm like, you know what? I was sitting there, and I'm talking to Aneta, and I'm like, there's no way, you and I, we aren't stupid, that if we do this full time, and list like 8 hours a day at the time, I think was the goal. There's no way we can't do this full time. Like we had a lot of inventory, personal items. We had a lot of stuff that we'd been shopping for a year or two. I was just like, I was like, if we can't do it, we can always do something else. But I was like, I think that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do this. And yeah, the first month was. I remember that first month I'm listing a lot. We had to buy bins, and bins happened to like increase in price. So it was a rough first month. But I was believing in us. Yeah, I'm not sure where Aneta was at this point, but yeah, I believed in us. We were still shipping out stuff. We still had money coming in from eBay. It's just not the full time job anymore, right? So then, yeah, the first month was kind of rough, and I was like, it's close, it's close. If we can do like another, X percent, we'll be barely comfortable, but like we can go from there, right? You usually grow if you're not doing anything too stupid. You don't like usually sink too much. So I was like, oh, we're so close. And then there was a day I just had a bunch of my nerdy stuff, right? I can't remember what the particular thing was. It was just probably a bunch of miniatures and other nerd stuff that I just didn't want anymore as my personal stuff. And I just listed it all, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll see. And that day, the next day, I remember it was awesome because I think like $700 came in. Maybe I underpriced stuff, doesn't matter. It was my personal stuff. And then it kind of clicked. I was like, oh, that's kind of like my knowledge base, right? Nerdy stuff, like the tabletop game. I'm not talking about like pop culture. I'm talking about like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm talking about these board game stuff. I'm talking about cards, video games, books. Well, books I've learned, and not already knew books were pretty well. So like RPG books, all the tabletop stuff. And I'm like, I just know so much about this niche stuff. It's like a bunch of wasted brain cells, except selling on eBay, right? Because then having knowledge of it, you can see something that someone else would be like, oh, that's junk. And I'll be like, oh, well, actually, that's a part to the game. And a lot of people lose that parts. And I know that a lot of people want that part. And because it's vintage, it's out of stock. That company was bought out, blah, blah, blah. You go through all of this like crazy little like information in your head. And someone else is like, what are you talking about? They don't know that that's junk. And they'll pass up on stuff, right? So then I started focusing on the nerd stuff. And we had sourced a bunch of nerd stuff. I would specifically say Aneta did, and then I just started listing it, and then that next month, this was crunch time. I'm kidding you not. If the sales didn't go up X percent, it was time to either get a part time job and do double part time, or to give up on the dream for the full time at the moment, right? And it was a good enough month, right? And I was super excited, right? So now I'm like focused on searching for the stuff I'm knowledgeable, not all the stuff that the people I was watching, because I was always trying to do the stuff that they were doing, but that was their specialty, not mine. And that was such a good feeling to have that realization, right? Oh, let me see. I made notes here. Okay. Also, give me a second. I have to focus on this miniature here, the cape. I have to come back and do more colors. What's next? Oh, I see what's next. Alright, give me a second, folks. Let's do this red. That's red. Right, and then there's going to be some whites. Some white here. Yeah, so I think we've only been doing full-time. It's hard to say, honestly. Like, I wasn't keeping track of days of when we were or weren't doing full-time, part-time. We were just doing it, right? Hyper-focused on it. Still are. Super hyper-focused on it. But yeah, it's hard. I know it's been, like, probably at least 2 years. It's still kind of rough that inflation going up kind of hit us hard. We were like finally at a point where it felt like we could breathe for like half of a year, and then inflation prices. Basically, I feel like we've been working twice as hard for trying to get back to what we were at. But you know, you're gonna have good years and bad years. We're always keeping an eye out on it to see if it's always viable to keep doing full time versus part time. I think it's worth it just because of like the days where we sell a good amount of stuff. I just sit there and think, I'm like, wow, do you know how much like actual at like usually like other jobs you have to work for this? Unless if you have like a really good skill set and you can land a really good job. It's just like it feels like it's better use of my time listing. Holy moly, I can't get this white out. I'm so sad. You know what? I'm gonna forget about that for now. I think we also got lucky with a lot of eBay stuff, right? We were lucky for like the sources we found. I think we went through it, and I think Annetta found all of them. So I definitely wouldn't have been able to do this without Annetta, at least full time. Obviously, anyone can do part time eBay, but yeah, full time was pretty much her. The reason why we got good sources is her exclusively. I'm able to do more of the chit-chatting and the negotiating, but I can't negotiate or chit-chat. Oh no, I spilled it as I negotiate or chit-chat if I don't have the person to negotiate with in the first place. I need focus. I don't know why I'm whispering, but I need some like major focus. Disciple. No, I see like a little gray part. It's gonna bother me. Good enough. Good enough, right? Yeah, without her support in all this, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have made her go through basically like running a full-on business if she really wasn't down for it. It's doing well enough now where it'd be harder to give up on it. But yeah, lucky that the items that we found, the people we were able to talk to, it took a long time. We still have a long way to go. We still would like more sources, like people to purchase stuff from. We technically have our email down below for anyone trying to sell kind of anything, honestly, anything that's like obviously legal or not food and stuff. So we get anything that the post office allows you to ship. Yeah, we'll definitely make offers on stuff. Those are health potions down there too. I looked at his little card. First, I was like, what are these? Like little grenades? Nope, little health potions. But yeah, we also got lucky for the prices we get. And then there's a lot of people that we know that throw out stuff. And in a lot of that stuff that's being thrown out, we've made really good money. Or like decent money. Decent enough. Definitely way better than it being tossed in the trash. Plus, we get to like actually... You know, we're saving stuff. Is that the right color? Yeah. Like we're saving stuff from going to the dump. It's kind of nice. It's wholesome. But yeah, I'm kind of winding down here. That's like honestly like our life has changed. Like we were able to put a down payment on her car, so now we have 2 cars. My car was able to be paid off, not in a good situation, but it's a long story, but we were able to pay off my car. Um, we got this condo, and then now we are maintaining it. So yeah, like everything for a couple years, eBay only, eBay only. Little bit of help from uh, Anetta's mom, right? But eBay only. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of costs. We've been doing some budgets recently, just to see what we can and can't spend, and trying to take everything to the next level, take a little bit, like take it even more serious, and yeah, it's just crazy to know, like me being fascinated with eBay from observing my parents doing it a little bit throughout my life to get nerd money stuff or money for nerd stuff. It's just wild. And it's crazy because people think eBay's dead. It's really not. It's not dead. I don't know why that notion goes out there often. I've always been aware of it. I guess a lot of people are into Amazon and stuff like that, but yeah, there's a lot of things that you can only get on eBay, or it's just easier and better to get on eBay. And that's where we come in from. We get the stuff that you can't get elsewhere. I'm trying to be careful here and not make a mess. This this is not good. So I'm using one of those Citadel cups, right? Or like, I don't know what to call them, but I'm trying to get paint out from the lid onto my wet palettes, and it's being a little annoying. And I was originally just going to take the paint out from the lid to paint it, but then I saw that it's going to be too watery. It's just for the toes. This is just behind the scenes drama I'm having. Let's see if this is going to work. It might be okay, everyone, even though you can't see the drama. Oh crap. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. It was just crazy to see all of that like inspiration and getting Pokemon cards sold from bubblegum machines and to now. It's kind of cool, right? Like my life legit has changed, right? It feels like the butterfly effect. A lot of stuff just happened in a row. Watching everyone, my brother, Anetta, watching my mom sell stuff. Why did I just paint that? That's fine. The toes are going to be like probably my least favorite part. I just messed up. It's okay. It's just nice to have. It feels like you get to have like control of your life, right? Um, I'm not saying doing eBay full time doesn't have its downsides. Like I said, every single bill, everything you have to pay for, and money goes quick. There's a lot of fees. You have to get supplies. You have to constantly be listing. You have to constantly be sourcing. Well, we have a lot to source, so I feel like technically we could slow down, but it's always good to source and get like good stuff. Good stuff meaning like high dollar stuff or stuff that sells fast. And yeah, all from Pokemon. That's actually why I have this little Pokemon post-it note here. It's part of the story. It's part of my story. Businessman from Pokemon, Pokemon trading card game. These are pretty cool little post-it notes. It's actually from 2020. It's not in the frame, but it says in the down right corner. Yeah, if you put something like time into something, and you give it like a fair shot, you can do it. Like or you can figure out quickly if you can't. Right? That was the whole thing. If it wasn't going to work out, we weren't going to do it, and yeah, we have nothing to brag about. We're trying to share our story now on YouTube. We've seen other people. I was inspired by people doing this, reselling stuff on eBay. It's a whole huge different world. There's so many things you can sell in it. One of my favorite parts is the ability to, wow, you can see my mistakes more up close in the camera. The ability to shift and to adapt. That's the important part. The other businesses and stuff I've been a part of, other jobs, it felt like a slow-moving adaptation. For example, let's just say books start selling more. I can list more books. Let's just say plushies are doing bad. I can stop listing plushies. Let's say that toys are being hot. I can go pick up more toys or list more toys. It's really nice to be able to have control and to not blame outside factors of why, like, where I am at life. I don't think that, well, it's hard to say, but I don't know if we would be at the point we are right now, which is why I feel like my life has changed from eBay throughout the years, if it wasn't for the ability to sell on eBay. You know, there's a lot of people who dislike eBay and stuff, but I really, everyone has gripes about every job they do, every platform they're on. It's easy to complain, but, like, honestly, it's been really, really good tool for us to progress our life. I'm super happy about it. I have to remind myself too. This video is a good reminder of, like, the good that comes out of us believing in ourselves and pushing towards a goal, a common goal. And we debate about stuff on eBay all the time, so it's not like we're always in harmony. And it's really nice, the result that comes out of multiple minds for eBay. Like when Annette and I discuss stuff, we're still constantly discussing stuff, debating stuff, what we should do, shouldn't do, what's wrong, what's right. But like that, it's control, right? We feel in control of our life rather than, I don't know, going somewhere, clocking in. I've had a lot of unconventional jobs. She's had some conventional ones versus my unconventional ones. So, oh, I wish I can get this white out right now. I'm so sad. I want to finish this miniature. I'll go back to painting some more brown while I'm chit-chatting. Yeah, and I know a lot of people who have jobs, conventional ones that they enjoy and that they make a good amount of money, and it's just cool that this is an option. Blows my mind. I remember I was originally watching thinking, like, I can't do what these other YouTubers are doing, and then with inspiration and with hard work, it really took a lot of work. So how we did it, or at least what I eventually transitioned into, and I don't know if this is like my final form, right? Like what's gonna take us to the next level to be more secure financially, was 40 items, Monday through Friday. Do not miss a day. Do not miss an item. And then I think I was on track of that for probably like a year and a half. I've been a little bit more lax this year, but I've needed to list like bigger items, which take more time. And then there's not as much pressure to list that much because it doesn't feel like right now we get exponentially more sales with more listings. Like, we got the bulk up there. We have a lot of bulks to work on, so now it's been like better quality items or batches of stuff, so I can do it faster. But yeah, I think our current thing is we need a little bit more sourcing, right? So we need to know more people personally, or more business connections of people we can get stuff for the things that they don't want to handle. I've been reaching out to a ton of people, and I still have a lot of people to reach out to. It's a little cringe. It's like, oh, hey, you, this is what I've been doing. Would you like to sell some stuff? Like, I know you have this. I know you were into this hobby. Is that something you would like to talk about? And I've had some success with it. But yeah, always looking for more stuff. Always looking to see if what we're doing. I've also been it feels like I've been kind of stagnant because I'm like, trying to keep up with the listings, but now we're doing the videos, and then we have to get more stuff, but then there's only so much time in the day. I wake up and I go, like, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, double X, and then I go through my day and only half of it's done. That's how I always am. I always wake up with, like, this ambition, seize the day type of mentality, which I think it's good. It's good for me. It really gets me, like, thinking about what I'm doing next, what I'm working on now, how can we get to the next level? But also in that, there's the grind, right? You have to still grind out stuff, right? You still have to do the basics. You still have to, I still have to take pictures, list stuff. We have to still ship stuff, and then it's gonna get all the shipping supplies, and then we're gonna do all the. She's gonna do all the like sales tricks and sell similar or update listings or update SKUs and basically saying hello to algorithm each day. Making sure it doesn't forget us. Kind of like any other thing, kind of like how people who are constantly on YouTube have to constantly do videos, right? eBay's just like that. The reselling, there's so much in this world. It's crazy. I feel like we've only like scratched the surface. I'm in this for the long haul. You know what? I'm gonna say it right now. I want to feel like the like one of the people that I think is really amazing at this. There's a lot of people. The auction professor, Don from the auction professor. I want us to be like him one day, right? Or even a fraction of him. He did it for a long time. I want to do it for a long time. I believe in eBay will be around for a long time. And if there's another platform we have to pivot to, we would. But this has been the one that's been working for us. Yeah, I'm just super thankful for all the like I'm gonna repeat this once again, but for Anetta's help and support. And randomly, I forgot to mention Anetta's mom works in an industry where she's always around stuff that's being thrown out a lot, and then she gets us a lot of free stuff. So probably at least a couple $1,000s throughout the years of eBay have been from her, just giving us stuff and stuff that was gonna be thrown away. So it's cool to think about. So she's been like a big help. Ooh, no. So yeah, I have to get pink. So sad. I want to finish this on camera for everyone. Right? I feel like I did a this in my opinion, people is kind of like this is a D minus. I'm gonna put a wash on after this. Maybe I'll post a picture and have Anetta edit it. And oh god, I'm trying not to. The white's kind of dry, but if I squeeze this whole tube, the whole thing's gonna burst out, right? So I have to like I don't know, poking the dry bits down. I'm not sure. I'm not that savvy with painting. It's been a while since I painted. Oh, here we go. Oh, see, I just need a little bit. I got it. I just need a little bit to make some pink for the nose. Look at this. All this for just the nose, right? But yeah, I want to be doing this for a long time. eBay. I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated about it. I get such a thrill, and so does Anetta, for like selling stuff. You put energy into something, someone else cares about it. Items are getting sold, things are being saved from the garbage. Stuff that could have sat there, been thrown away, is now going into a collector's hand. You get to preserve this stuff because collectibles do slowly over time just like get thrown out, or disappear, or someone collects them and then they're never back in the market. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen with collectibles, so it's really cool to be a part of the essentially recycling process for it. But yeah, I'm super happy for where we're at. I'm getting a little teary. Okay, it's okay to cry, but yeah, I'm super appreciative of where we're at. This was very therapeutic for me, this video. Painting this miniature. Let's see. I'll fix up a little bit of his feet, but let's get a final look here. He has to dry, and then I have to do a wash. I'll show a picture of it later. Let's see. Right here. There he is. It looks way worse because I'm zooming in, but yeah, this far on the table. This is good enough for me. I'm going to see a couple mistakes, but I'm going to turn off, see the jacket right there. It's a little bit of green. Maybe, I have to do the pink in his ears. Maybe fix up the toes. After the wash, I'll put like a lighter color on to make him look like he has nails. But yeah, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel. We're going to try to keep recording our journey. If you want to help support us, take a look at our shop below. We also have offers on all of our eBay items. We have a ton of stuff listed. Use the search function follow the shop, follow our page. Everyone, make sure to also just have a good week and have a good day. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy out in the world. Yeah, just enjoy it. All right, have a good one. Bye.